Alright, here's the first sweet potato. Right here. Show it. There we go. First step in the easy way to grow sweet potatoes is just lay them on the ground in place, about a foot apart. They can be a little further, but a foot is okay. And no, they absolutely do not have to be sprouted. This was an accident. This happened because we kept them over winter in too warm a place. So no, don't worry about sprouting your sweet potatoes ahead of time. So just lay them out like that, about a foot apart. The next step in growing sweet potatoes the easy way is cover them with mulch. About 8 to 12 inches of wood chips, somewhere between probably 15 to 20 inches of straw or hay if you're going to use that. Because it's not as that material isn't as dense as wood chips, you want to use a little bit more. If you want to use sawdust, that does work because I actually used that for a few of my sweet potatoes last year. You can use less, maybe 6 to 8 inches of sawdust on top of the sweet potatoes because it is denser than wood chips. There you go. And then you just leave them alone, totally and completely. Well, maybe not. They are drought tolerant, but it's good to splash some water on them once in a while when there hasn't been rain for a while. We'll talk about that in a minute. All right, do you see them? Do you see them? Da-da-da. One, two. So these are two separate ones. And over there. Now those are the only ones growing up in this patch. So, oh, there's a new one that wasn't there yesterday. See that one? Oh, there's another one over here. That's new too. Anyway, the first ones I showed you of the plants, I think it was about 4 days ago we saw them. And yeah, if the sweet potatoes that you put down do not have sprouts, it's been between 2 and 3 weeks that I quote-unquote planted the sweet potatoes, put them on the ground and buried them in wood chips, between 2 and 3 weeks. And yeah, the reason they're popping up so quickly is because, like you saw, they already were very sprouted. So if you put down sweet potatoes that are not sprouted, they are not going to pop up this quickly. However, they will eventually grow sprouts and pop up. But this is our next phase, is watching them start to come up out of the mulch. It's a windy May 14th morning, and I wanted to show you the progress of this little sweet potato patch. Those are not sweet potatoes down there, those are red Malabar spinach that's seeded in the wood chips, and they're going to get pulled out eventually. But as you can see, we're moving right along. I think it's been about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks since I did the last clip. I have not watered them yet. Nature's been watering them just fine, more than once a week, I think. Okay, it is harvest day. We're going to see what we have. So this is what the vines look like right now, and we have, of course, done a lot of picking them up and throwing them back over there to get, for example, they were trying to, crawl up this tree at one point. And you can see that they do have vines that have climbed into the strawberry patch. So they could have been more all over than they are, but still a substantial amount for, I think it was 20 potatoes that I planted here. So let's dig under the mulch and see what we have. The first thing we need to do is cut back a lot of these vines, get them out of the way. And I would love to put these vines in a compost pile, except wherever there's a leaf, it'll turn into a root. Can you get a close-up on this right here? It's right next to the root. It starts to root, and so what I'll end up with is just vines growing in the compost pile. They won't really decompose. They'll root into the ground and start growing. That doesn't usually work, but yeah, we need to get back. These vines are very long, you can see. The mulch actually doesn't start until about over here. So we're going to have to cut back. It'll be a lot easier for us to dig in. Okay, here we go. Here's our first sweet potato. Pull that out and let us see it. There we go. And I need to say we did have a drought that was like, a month, 5 weeks long. And during that drought, I watered this patch of sweet potatoes 3 times only. 3 times over that month period. It was over a month. About 20 gallons each time. The sweet potatoes, number one, are quite the drought-tolerant plant. As you can see, they still grow, even though I wasn't giving them a lot of water. And also, the constant decomposition of the mulch helps to give them some moisture, too. So there's our first potato. Go ahead and put that in the bucket. All right, almost a full 5-gallon bucket. About 2/3 of the way full, I should say. 2/3 of the way full, 5-gallon bucket. And I think we've only harvested about 1/3 of this bed so far. And I wanted to show you something. Look at this. What can happen, how sweet potatoes so easily root in the ground. I'm not sure. There must have been a remnant of a vine left that I had pulled back, and part of it left. And look, it's grown brand new plants. It's not connected to these vines over here. It's totally all by itself. And this is what sweet potatoes do. They just like to root in the ground and grow. There's another one just growing independently there. There's one there. And I also want to tell you that you will encounter some big, huge sweet potatoes. You'll encounter good-sized potatoes like this, and even bigger than what you'd find in the store. You'll encounter teeny tiny potatoes that if you'd given them another month to grow, they would, like this isn't the teeniest tiniest, but give it another month to grow and it might be that size. And you'll encounter rotten potatoes. And I was explaining to my son a minute ago that a lot of the rotten potatoes, like this one, that you'll encounter are actually very likely one of the original potatoes that you planted, that you put on the ground and buried with mulch. So it's not like you lost it. But some of them do get rotted. This one looks like something, it's like something got it down there and dug and ate. But anyway, but yeah, some of them will be rotten just because they got too much moisture or whatever. Oh, look at the big pile we've got over there. Are those mostly good?
Oh yeah, those are all good.
Oh, cool. Right. Okay, 2 overfull 5-gallon buckets of potatoes so far after about 45 minutes of work. And look, we've just barely scratched the surface of the mulch. We're going to either use a hoe or a shovel to get down there, dig down and see what we can find deeper. So here is the former sweet potato patch, all cleaned up. I would say it took a total of about 2.5 hours, because we did take a break in between. 2.5 hours to clean up this area. I'm going to say it's about 30 square feet. What happened was Benjamin went through and he dug out what he could easily dig out with his hands out of the mulch, and we ended up with 3 a little bit more than full 5-gallon buckets, plus more than half of a wheelbarrow full. Actually, about half a wheelbarrow full. And then what happened is, after lunch, I came out, I grabbed the hoe because our garden rake broke, so I just used the hoe. And I raked back all the mulch. I got a little bit of dirt. I may have not got quite all the way down to the dirt in some places, and I got a little bit too much more dirt than I wanted another, but got up most of the mulch anyway. And as I pulled back the mulch, we found probably about another dozen decent sized sweet potatoes. So yeah, about 2.5 hours of work. No digging, all done by just scooping it out by hand. When you grow sweet potatoes this way, you put them on the ground and bury them in mulch, you will have a few, there's my shadow, see? You will have a few sweet potatoes that will actually grow into the dirt, but not very far. There should be at least a little potato sticking out of the dirt, so when you pull the mulch back all the way, you get it off the ground from where you put it, you will be able to find it. If we took a shovel and dug out this area, we might find a few more, but it really wouldn't be anything to justify the use of the shovel. So there we go. The easy peasy way to grow sweet potatoes, and step by step how to do it. But we are missing one important step, and that is curing the sweet potatoes. Curing the sweet potatoes. That is a process that they need to go through so that they can sit at room temperature a long time. I mean, for months. I've even heard you can just, they should be able to last up to a year if you store them correctly after they're cured. This video is long enough, so I'm going to make curing sweet potatoes a totally separate video, and I'm going to have the link to that. As soon as I get that uploaded, I'll put a link right up there. If you look to the top of the video, there'll be a little eye, and you can click that and get to the video on curing sweet potatoes. In the meantime, thanks a whole lot for watching this video, and I hope that you have great success in growing sweet potatoes the Back to Eden way, the mulch way. It's very easy. See you next time. Hey, oh, one more thing. If you haven't seen my video on 8 ways to get more exercise in your garden, it's humorous. It'll lighten your day a little bit, especially if you've been gardening for a while and you know all the things that can make gardening difficult. Yeah, it's tongue-in-cheek, it's funny. It's also there when you click on that eye up there. You see that video. All right, I'll shut up now. See you later.